Hey, Shalom, brothers, and a few sisters that watch as well. So, Vocab No Testosterone is back at it again. And see, this is the reason why we do the videos that we do, brothers, because really and truly, we are trying to brainwash you. And when I say brainwash, I literally mean cleanse, right? I don't mean to deceive, because what people are trying to do, people like No Class Malone or No Testosterone Malone, what they're trying to do is bring you back into a mindset that's detrimental to you. Now, I'm not saying that in this society we're going to be perfect. There's no such thing, right? But to learn how we used to be and learn how we should be now, and to learn how we're going to be in the kingdom, that's what we need to be doing, right? Those three things, that's how you master yourself, and that's how you master this truth, right? You learn how we used to be, right? So No Class, No Testosterone, Vocab Malone is going into ravishing. Now, in the past, did we ravish women? Did we take women? Of course we did. There's a whole law in the scripture, right? There's a whole scripture on it, right? You know what? Let me start off with that scripture, and then I'll go into what this lady's saying. This is Deuteronomy 22, verse 28, right? And if you read up a little bit more, it's going to go into a little bit more, but the main point is right here. This is what makes it quote unquote lawful, right? It says, if a man find a damsel, which is a woman, right, that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, meaning that she's not promised to anybody else, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, meaning that, like the story comes out, like so-and-so, the daughter of so-and-so is no longer a virgin, right? It now everybody found out, like, okay, Brother Howard took Margaret, Brother Howard took Stephanie or whatever, right? And I never went through the proper channels, because you have to understand, in the past, there were proper channels that a man had to go before he could just get a man's daughter. Why? Because the permission of getting a man's daughter was not from the woman. It was from the man, from the father, right? That's why the woman was viewed as property. She was property of her father, and then she would be given, there would be an exchange, right? An emancipation, an exchange of ownership onto the husband, who would then take on the role of a father, but in a husbandly aspect, right? Because there's certain things that a husband can do that a father cannot do. Can a father lay with his daughter? No, he cannot. Can a husband lay with his wife? Of course he can. Okay? So there was an exchange of ownership and also responsibility as well. You had to feed the woman, you had to clothe the woman, right? But as a husband, you also had a extra responsibility that came. It wasn't just ownership passed on and responsibility passed on. You then had a role of a husband as well. Okay? Verse 29, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. Why? Because the woman is property. The woman is valuable. This is a valuable commodity. She's not just a nobody. The woman, I'm sorry to tell you, especially for a lot of you men nowadays that hate women, you've got your heart broken, right? Women use you, and you just hate women, these bitches and these this and these that. So the woman has a value. She's bringing a value into your life. She's able to bear kids, right? She's able to nurture, She's able to educate the children, right? So the woman comes with a lot. She's not just a nobody, she's a somebody. Okay? And it says, and she shall be his wife. Why? The scripture is going to explain. Because he hath humbled her. What does that mean? He has taken her. You have taken her value, sir. If you just take her and you just leave her, guess what? That woman is going to have to be killed. She can't just be walking around and go and lay with another man? No, that's not how it worked back in the day. Okay? That's how it works now. And it won't work like that going forward in our kingdom. In this society, in this empire, in this kingdom, then this is completely legal. The woman can lay with 2,000 men if she wants to. And I'm not being facetious, because the last lesson that I did was with a woman who's laid with 2,000 men. So is that far-fetched? No, it's not. It says, because he had humbled her, he may not put her away all his days. Why? Because that is your property, sir. That is your property. Now, can she do something to violate you to where you can then put her away? Yes, adultery. Adultery. If that woman goes out and sleeps with another man the way that it used to be previously, not the way that it is now, right? That's not how it is now. That is the way that it's going to be in the future in our kingdom, where if a woman, well, our women are going to be perfect. So really and truly, we don't have to worry about that. Okay?
I'm Amanda Pisciuco, a certified sex therapist, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 women's fantasies. Stay until the end if you're interested to learn more about the Inner Aspects method so you can use it at home and get some of your fantasies met and turned into a reality. The number one fantasy that I hear from women for over a decade is definitely celebrities. People who are athletes, actors or actresses, singers or songwriters. People who have fame are often seen as the number one fantasy.
And that's okay. That's a good thing. Why? Because that's how your woman should view you, right? Even though we do have celebrities, we have singers, we have athletes, but guess what? That's how your woman should view you, right? That's why really and truly, brothers really shouldn't get a woman until you have established yourself. And guess what, brothers? Let me not leave this out. Just because you're in the truth doesn't mean that you're not a celebrity. You can become a celebrity with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Why? Because those things are an aphrodisiac to the woman, right? Nowadays, they call it being a sapiosexual. And most women are sapiosexuals. You just have to present yourself in that way. You don't fake the funk or fake who you are, right? Brothers are not athletes, but that doesn't mean that you can't take care of yourself physically, right? I have a lot of brothers in my camp. They go to the gym, they take care of themselves. Well, make yourself the best that you can be physically, like an athlete, if you want to be, and that woman will worship you as such. You don't have to be on television, right? But the other reason why these women have fantasies about these people is because they feel like these people are like gods. Well, you can be a god unto your woman, but you have to be a god to her by the way that you treat her and the way that you conduct yourself, right? If you live with a woman, for you to be a god to her, you're going to have to please her sexually, and you don't do it all the time, right? You're going to have to withdraw from the woman, right? You give it to her like a reward. So there's things that you can do to be a celebrity to a woman, brothers. Don't feel like, just because, I'm just in the truth. I don't have any power. No. You always have power. It's just how you carry yourself. It's your mindset. Okay? Let's keep going.
In women's sexual desires. So, if if you're interested in bringing this into your bedroom at home, be open to not be envious or jealous if your partner brings up a celebrity crush, and encourage them if that's in your comfort zone. The next most common fantasy that I hear is kidnapping, being taken, being coerced. That sounds scary.
Did you hear that? Vocab, no testosterone. So, AKA rape, because that's what rape means. Rape means to be taken. Or being arrested, right? Against your will. That's what being raped is. No testosterone, right? You see, here's the thing. Men like no class vocab is trying to bring you back into a mindset where you brothers are going to get under a spell. And you know what that spell is? That spell is courtly love, right? Courtly. Courtly. Courtly love, right? And that actually began with our people, right? That was in France, in southern France, in Poitiers, right? And that's around today. That's where the Church of Notre Dame Grande or La Grande is, right? Which is I forgot there's a next place close to there. I don't remember the next place, but there's a next place close to there. But that's where everything began, right? There's a huge church, the Church of Notre Dame Grande or La Grande, right? Which shows our history, right? It's still alive today. And not just with us, but also, with our foreparents or what our foreparents built, right? And there was a granddaughter of a duke, William the Ninth, and her name was Eleanor of Aquitaine. This is a black woman, very, very famous black woman, right? Brothers are going into the history now a lot, especially in my camp, but in all camps, right? Starting with our elder apostles, right? They're the ones that taught us about this history. So we're going into history in our camp, and this is a good time to study, because this is where a lot of the chivalry came from, right? So the granddaughter of William, he was a duke, William the Ninth of France. Her name was Eleanor, right? She could be Eleanor of Poitiers or Eleanor of Aquitaine, which is in France. She was actually the wife of King Louis, the fifth. No, King Louis the Seventh. When she was queen in France, right? So she was queen in France. She was also queen of England. Yeah. She was queen of England, but when she was queen of England, she was married to King Henry. He was the first. He was the first or the second. I think he was the second. Her eldest son is Richard the First, right? Which these are all so-called black people, right? This is all our history. Right? All our history being in rulership, being royal, being regal, right? This history is amazing, right? And she inspired a man or an artist, a poet by the name of Andreas Capellanus. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but Andreas, to write a thesis, or you could call it a poet, or it was really a thesis, right? And it was called D'Amour. And that's where he defined love as passion arising from the contemplation of beauty in the opposite sex, right? Where which a scripture should come to the brother's mind immediately, right? Let me get a scripture. Let me get the scripture. This is Sirach 25, verse 21, which is in the Apocrypha. This is the scripture that should come to brothers' minds. It says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. Why? Because when you stumble at a woman's beauty, that means what? Right? That means that you are infatuated. And when you desire her for pleasure, what state are you in? You're in a state of lust. You're in a state of lust, which really and truly is not who you are. You're not your true self. When you deal with women, you got to deal with women mentally, right? Yes, the woman is beautiful. Yes, she has breasts. Yes, she has a nice ass. And yes, between that ass, she has a fat pom-pom. And if you spread that ass cheek, you're going to see that pom-pom, and that pom-pom is going to say hello, and it's probably wet, right? And if, nowadays they shave it, so it's probably shaved and it's looking pretty, right? She probably has perky nipples, whether her breasts are small or big, and she has long legs, and she has nice big lips. But guess what that is, brothers? That's lust. That's lust. Because before you get to that, you have to understand your phallus is a reward. Why is your phallus a reward? Because you are able to impregnate the woman and give her the greatest prize, which is your seed. So can you just choose any woman to give that to? No, which is why you have to use your mind, right? You have to conquer the woman mentally, right? That's what it is. But what this guy, Andreas, created during this time, especially this time of chivalry, but this time of love, right, was admiration of the woman, was worship of the woman, putting the woman upon a pedestal, when that's the last thing we as men need to do. Why? Because the scripture said so. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman. Why? Because if you stumble at her beauty, you're going to let things slide that you should not let slide. The woman might be disrespectful to you, but you're going to be like, yo, but my woman look good, right? You're going to desire her for pleasure, and then you're going to let certain things slide, like disrespect, or she might go and be with another man, and you let that slide because you don't want to lose that good box. Well, brothers, we can't do that, man, right? And the next scripture, let's get the next scripture, because the next scripture should come to brothers' mind in the book of Sirach too, as well. This is Sirach 9 and 8, and I could start at 6. But that's another lesson right there, because really and truly the modern woman represents an harlot, right? Just like the last lesson that I did, wives, concubines, and harlots or escorts, right? And the modern woman is an harlot, right? But I'm going to start from 8. I'm going to leave that alone. It says, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman. Look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. And that's what chivalry is. That's where that whole modern day love and that, that spirit of Valentine's Day, that's where this comes from, man. That's where it comes from. Right? And the scripture says we're not supposed to do that, man. Why? Because we're not supposed to deal with the woman off of her beauty. The woman is supposed to have substance to her, right? The word woman literally means servant. So she's supposed to serve you. She's really supposed to be on your program. Okay? But going back to what Andreas wrote, he said, let's match it up. He says, love as a passion. Okay? And what did the scripture say at the end? It says, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. Right? So that's what passion is. Right? Passion is like a fire. Okay? It says arising from the contemplation, meaning that that's what you're going to be mindful of beauty in the opposite sex. So you're going to be lusting after the beauty of the opposite sex, which is going to take away your time from doing what? From being mindful of these scriptures and contemplating on these scriptures, contemplating on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? That's where it comes from. And it says, and this, let's go back. It says, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. And what is makeup? What is makeup? Right? That's why makeup is known as witchcraft, because you're being deceived. But even a beautiful woman can deceive you too, because a beautiful woman can use her words and tell you that she loves you, but with her actions, she completely disrespects you. Okay? And it's so funny because what Andreas Capinalis wrote is literally the definition of the whole system, which is what it is today, right? This whole ideology of love, right? Which is really the practice of woman worship, right? That's really what it is. It's really woman worship. And that's what brothers should not be doing. Brothers should not be worshiping women. That's the last thing you should be doing, man. Let's go back to the video real quick.
Yet, it's one of the most common ones that I hear. Your bedroom at home, be open to not be envious or jealous if your partner brings up a celebrity crush, and encourage them if that's in your comfort zone.
Let's rewind it for vocab.
The next most common fantasy that I hear is kidnapping, being taken, being coerced. That sounds...
Kidnapping, being taken, being coerced. Now, I'm sorry for you, Mr. Fall in Love guys, but this is exactly what a woman fantasizes about. This is what she fantasizes about. So she fantasizes about being raped. Now, are we going to do this? No, we're not going to do this. Why? Because of what we just read, which means brothers are going to be in control. But when you get a woman, you brothers are going to have to learn how to make a woman feel this way. Right? Why? Because we know these are the things that lie dormant inside of the woman. Right? We're not listening to what Vocab No Testosterone saying. We're listening to men who have testosterone and who knows how to get that naughty side out of a woman. Vocab No Testosterone can't get nothing out of a woman. He can't even get a handhold. He could get a handshake. He could get a high five, but he can't get nothing intimate out of a woman. Right? Men like that, they have to perform this whole unbridled devotion, right? Which is really practice of woman being in control. So these guys, they love chivalry. They love it.
Scary, yet it's one of the most common ones that I hear. When someone comes up to you, takes you, ravishes you, and then there's no actual harm at the end. You get thrown back into your regular life. So something that's not quite normal. Kidnapping, coercion, and then going back to your normal life, that often can be seen as really scary for some people. However, there are many women, not all.
And that's why most men don't understand women, because you judge women like you judge yourself. Right? Women work off of emotions. Have you ever seen a woman watch a scary movie? Have you ever been in a car with a woman and you're driving really fast and the woman feels like she's in danger, but she's really getting turned on at the same time? That's how women are. They're not creatures of logic. They're creatures of feelings. It's the feeling that you're giving her, right? And the feeling of being scared is an arousal for the woman as well.
Many women who take this and say it's their biggest fantasy. If you've heard of someone who has this fantasy, please write it below so you can show that this is actually quite common. The next most common fantasy that I hear about is some sort of power dynamic, whether that be boss and employee, or professor student, doctor patient, or something else.
Which is why a woman is not supposed to work for another man. The woman is not even supposed to be in the workplace. Why? Because that's the admiration the woman is supposed to give you as her man. Right? But the woman loves a power dynamic. She loves when a man has power over her. Right? So for you men like Vocab No Testosterone that believe in equality, and when I say equality, I don't mean equality meaning that the woman is of equal importance, because she is. The woman is of equal importance, right? Women are amazing. I love them, right? Myself. So are women of equal importance? Yes, they are. But are women equal to a man? No, they're not. Men are above women. Why? Because you men are supposed to be in order. You're supposed to lead the woman. Right? These fantasies is going into the mindset of a woman, whether she says it or not. The majority of women are not going to tell you these things. You as men, when you watch these videos, you're not supposed to go back to the woman and say, yo, I know that you want to be raped. What? Why would you go and even say that to a woman? You're just supposed to know what to do with the woman. It's either you know what to do with the woman or you don't know what to do with the woman. And for you men that don't know what to do with women, like Vocab no testosterone, you're supposed to leave the woman alone until you do. Because majority of you guys are going to fumble around like a damn penguin in heat. Have you ever seen a penguin trying to mount another penguin and he's slipping off? That's how the majority you yeah, vocab no class is like a penguin trying to mount a woman, right? And a woman is going to know when you don't have no experience. She's going to know when you're inexperienced, and she's going to use that against you. That's a power dynamic. Why does she like a boss? Why does she like somebody over her? Because she feels like that person can take advantage of her. That person is smarter than her.
Insert a power dynamic, and you will definitely hit on the third most common fantasy that I hear about. Something where there's a power differential and there is an excitement that comes from the secrecy, the time constraints, and the fact that you're not supposed to. The risk is exciting. The fourth one that I hear about is romance or making love, and this would be the beauty.
All right, let's get a scripture real quick. Real quick. This is Isaiah 13:16. It says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces. And this is going into the end of this society. When this society collapses, it's going to collapse in a fantastic way, in a violent way, right? So that's why we're reading this. And doesn't this link with Psalms 137? I think it's 137. Right, where it says that their baby shall be dashed against the stones. So Isaiah 13:16, why is these things going to happen, you ask? These things are going to happen because it's going to be the downfall of you so-called white people, who are you biblical Edomites. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, meaning that men are going to be going into your house and taking your shit. And their wives ravished. Let's get that word. Let's see what ravish means. Define. This is the
Ravish.
Word. What?
Ravish.
Ravish. It says seize and carry off by force. See vocab no testosterone? You don't know what you're talking about. These scriptures are not for you. You're in that old mindset. You're in that time of chivalry, that which is what I'm going into, right? And what was chivalry? Chivalry was for knights, right? This is a time period of 500s AD, right? When our people were ruling in all throughout Europe, right? Where we were the royals, right? And it dictated that they serve their lady. He was her protector. That's exactly what a knight was, right? These were warriors, but they also had to serve the lady, right? So let's say you were a knight and you were serving a king. A lady would be the king's daughter, right? And she would have her own personal knight that followed her everywhere she went. But during the time of chivalry, he was also very courteous, right? He would help her up the stairs, help her down the stairs. He would pull out her chair. If there was a puddle, he would lift her over a puddle, right? These are the things that were going on at that time. And in 1275, there was a guy by the name of Raymond Lull. He wrote the Order of Chivalry, right? And I would suggest that brothers read that, right? Because it's going to give you a little bit more insight, right? But just a few points in that whole book of what he wrote is a man was supposed to admire the lady of his affection, right? So he would see her, not say anything, and just admire her. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like social media today. That sounds exactly like social media, because this is what these women want us to do. These women want us to lust after them, but not really have them. They don't want to know us. They want to have who they want to have, and then they want to have every other man in the world lust after them, masturbate to their pictures, and all of that type of shit, to where they're basically worshipped. These women want to be worshipped. Okay? That's exactly what these women want. They want to be worshipped. Really and truly, chivalry was a game, right? It was literally a game, right? Like that cartoon with Pepe Le Pew. Where was that? That was a Disney? I can't remember which cartoon, but I used to watch that as a kid, right? It was a skunk. One of them was a skunk. Maybe Pepe Le Pew was a skunk, and the girl was a cat, right? And because the cat was black and white, Pepe Le Pew thought it was a skunk too. And he was basically in love. He didn't even care that the female was running away from her. That's chivalry, right? Because in chivalry, the man is supposed to chase the woman, and the woman is supposed to deny his advances, right? And then after she denies your advances, you're supposed to express to her how heartbroken you are that you can't have her, and then continue to chase her again. That's chivalry. This is the mindset that they're trying to put brothers in, man. And when you watch that cartoon, even though it's a cartoon, Pepe Le Pew looked like he was in a trance. He was literally in a trance, and that's not how men are supposed to love. Now that guy, Andreas, he was also known as Andrew the chaplain. He had another name as well. I can't remember. They called him something else as well. He also said it was supposed to be kept a secret, right? And that you were supposed to be jealous of anybody that comes around her. So literally, this was mind control. This woman literally had you under mind control. And is a man supposed to be like that? Especially a righteous man? Come on, man. Especially a righteous man, especially you brothers that are in the truth. So what are you trying to do, vocab, no class, no testosterone? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get brothers to worship the woman and go off and not follow Yahweh Shem Yahushai? You know who Vocab No Class Malone is like? He's like this. Hold on. Troubadour. There it is. Hold on, no. Troubadour. Meaning? Should I get meaning? Yeah. So let's get the pronunciation. This is the word
Troubadour.
So troubadours, going back to the medieval period, right? Or the Dark Ages, right? Were poets composing and singing in Provencal in the 11th to 13th century, especially on the theme of courtly love. So they were traveling poets and musicians. Who does that remind you of today? R&B singers. R&B singers. R. Kelly has a song called Secret Lovers. That's what you want to be. While making love to him, girl, you silently thinking of me. Yo, this is the wickedness that they put in these music. Why? Because music puts you under a spell, right? Which is why they said, what's his name? Pan played the panpipes, right? And when Pan played the panpipes, he would lure kids into the forest and he would sexualize them. Now, what does R. Kelly call himself? The Pied Piper. What is the Pied Piper? That is Pan. That is Pan. Okay? That is literally Pan. Now, going back to this lady, Eleanor of Aquitaine, right? She had a daughter named Marie something. Champagne, Marie Champagne or something like that. She influenced the writing of that story, Lancelot. And if brothers know Lancelot, which you should, because I grew up watching stuff like that, like King Arthur and stuff like that. This was the type of mindset that they wanted men to be in, right? And this is the type of mindset men are in today. But are brothers supposed to be into that mindset? No. Why? Because we're supposed to put the Most High on high. Okay? And I'm going to end it off with this. This is 2 John 1 verse 6. And it says, and this is love, that we walk after his commandments. This is the commandment that, as ye have heard from the beginning, you should walk in. So this is the way you should be walking in. Where? In the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's what you should be musing on. That's what you should be in a trance on. Why? Because the scriptures of the Most High represent life. They represent healing. They represent cleansing, because none of us are perfect, brothers. We're all going to fall short, which is why we need Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Not that you don't love your woman, but you love your woman righteously. Right? You hear that? No class, Malone? You loser. But with that, I like to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors unto the elders and elder apostles who rule well and who teach well. And to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity. Hey, shalom. Till next time. Kwam Yasharallah.